Hey everyone, my name is Daniel, and I love movies, at least when Hollywood doesn't totally ruin it. And this is my spoiler-free review of Pirates of the Caribbean 5: Dead Men Tell No Tales. So Pirates 5 once again centers around the zany adventures of one Captain Jack Sparrow. Johnny Depp once again reprises his role as the Captain of the Black Pearl, but this time he's a little bit different. They kind of build up this story about how Jack's drunk and starting to lose his luck, and I suppose the drunken part of it isn't exactly unusual for this character in this series, but it is a little bit more emphasized than it has been in the past few movies. And we certainly see the ramifications of these actions in Jack's life, including freeing the villain of this movie, Captain Salazar, which I'll get to in a moment, but I want to stick on Jack's performance for a little bit. Johnny Depp, he still did good. I think part of it was the performance, part of it was the writing of the character. And I think one of the problems with this movie was they really focused a lot more, like I was just talking about, on Jack being drunk and all the stuff with him, you know, as opposed to the things that made him so crazy awesome in the first few movies. He was so intelligent, he was so cunning, and even though he was facing up against these really powerful opponents that so dwarfed Jack, and I think like Davy Jones, one of the most powerful pirates in the sea, you always felt like Jack had total control over the situation because he was so smart and he had such a quick wit that he'd be able to talk his way out of just about anything, or at least think his way out of just about anything, and it would all work out for him in the end. They didn't really focus on that in this movie. Again, it was the drunk and stuff, and it was the yeah, it was still funny at some points. I still did legitimately get some laughs out of it, but it wasn't quite the same. And now coming back to Captain Salazar, who is of course the main villain of this movie, he's interesting. And no, I don't just mean because of his CGI hair or that face. I mean, my God, look at that face. When he's screaming, he looks like one of those Care Bears that your dog played with and scratched up one too many times. I don't know who came up with that, but it looks silly. Where was I? Oh, yeah, Javier Bardem plays a pirate killer who wants to get rid of all the pirates in the sea. So, basically, he's trying to commit genocide. I mean, it's pirates, I suppose, but it's still committing genocide. You know, with the silliness of the look and the genocide thing and the... You know, I'm not sure how I feel about this character anymore. Anyway, moving along, Brenton Thwaites plays Henry Turner, and before you ask, yes, he is the son of Will Turner, and yes, he is just for him. So clearly it's genetic. You know, someone should probably find a son or daughter of Jack Sparrow. That'd solve a lot of these movies' problems and make it way more interesting. But Henry's whole goal throughout this movie is to break his father's curse. Will is obviously still bound to the Dutchman and cursed to stay there and not come on land but once every 10 years. Of course, though, Henry thinks that if he can find the Trident of Poseidon, which in this movie has the power to break all curses, he'd be able to free Will and get him back home on land. And that's about all there is to this character. Next, we have Carina Smyth, played by Scodelario, who's doing her damnedest to make something interesting come out of this role. Unfortunately, it just wasn't written very well. Carina is a woman ahead of her time, and she's constantly being accused of witchcraft because of her advanced intelligence. She's an astronomer who helps out the Henry and the pirates on their journey to finding the Trident of Poseidon by reading the map that no man can read. And I know those last two character summaries went by pretty quick, but there's not a whole heck of a lot to say with those two. Captain Barbosa, once again played by Geoffrey Rush. Now, Geoffrey Rush, I feel, was just born to play a pirate. He's probably my favorite character in this series, and he's done very well for himself in this series. He's actually the commodore of a large fleet, at least until Salazar gets freed and his ship just starts eating Barbosa's ships. Is it just me, or are the ship designs and abilities getting really weird in this series? Anyway, Barbosa isn't capable of stopping Salazar's ship from just eating all of Barbosa's ships, so he's forced to join Jack and the others on their quest to find the Trident of Poseidon. And without getting into spoiler territory, that's about all I can say about Barbosa's character, so I'm going to leave it there. A couple of other characters that are worth mentioning, Will and Elizabeth, of course, do make appearances in this movie, but there's not a whole heck of a lot of them, so don't be going in expecting too much of a continuation of their stories. They're in the movie, but only briefly. Actually makes a small appearance in a prison scene as Uncle Jack, and that was actually one of the funnier scenes of the movie, just the banter between Johnny Depp and Paul McCartney. I liked that a lot. Overall, it was a bit of an up and down movie. Certainly wasn't as good as the first two Pirates movies, or really the first few Pirates movies. But it certainly wasn't the worst. I'm glad I went and saw it. I'm just not sure I'd be going to see it again. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the subscribe button to get all the latest updates from the show.